What is up, everybody? Booze Town GP here coming at you, and today we have something special. I sneak peeked it the other video, and here we are. The 1997 Nissan Hardbody that I built a few years ago, and it ended up blowing the motor up in a week. And yeah, so it sat for a while, and I got the idea to resurrect it. So we are going to do just that. I already got some things prepped for the engine that we're going to be putting in here, and lo and behold, here she be. It's the Jank 5.3. It's got a different coat of paint on it since the last time I think you have all seen it on here. Now it is like a seafoam green. It's kind of neat with some black covers. It's got a 3-speed Saginaw stick shift. Nice bolt action deal here, because that's the only way to go. And when I first built this truck, I put in a 350 Chevy with the same transmission, so all of this part fits still in here. Show you the cross member is in there. The cross member is a just regular cross member for like an automatic Trans Am, or a Camaro. Let's see what year, like mid 70s, late 70s, around that, maybe into the early 80s, like 81 maybe, and that's probably as far as it'll go. But yeah, it's an older Camaro Trans Am cross member, and it literally just bolted into the factory cross member location. This thing is actually a miracle, and it's not my first Nissan mini truck. The last one I had was the 2000 Frontier with the same engine and transmission that I had in this originally, and that was actually on the channel quite a few years ago. It was the Snowdrift Special and some things like that. It was actually quite a fun truck. It was like such a minimalist setup. It was just stick shift engine and welded rear. It's also on 4-inch lowering blocks, and the front is also 4-inch dropped on stock front end. The drive shaft conveniently came out of an 87 El Camino with a 305 and probably a 200R or something like that. I put the Nissan flange on the back. It's using the factory Chevrolet universal joint, and apparently Nissan caps have the same diameter, so you could just switch a Rooney and have that. And the front, I believe this is a long snout. I think there's other ones that are like that. This one, drive shaft is like a few inches short, so I needed a long snout. So I think it only goes in about that much, but that's all you need. So we're gonna see about slapping this thing in there, and we're keeping the original truck pan. This came out of a like 1500 GMC, something like that. We're gonna keep the pan, and hopefully it clears the cross member. And I actually removed the cross member because you can unbolt them on these trucks. So we're gonna see what happens, and I know it can be a little bit of a challenge from what I've seen on the internet, but I seem to be good with this stuff. So we're actually using the Lamborghini again, and I've decided to keep this thing around because it's kind of an asset. Not doing any cab swaps on this thing because I don't feel it's necessary. And ended up putting a column shifter back in it since the Impala took the floor shifter. But yeah, it seems to do all right. First thing we're gonna do is put some air in these tires, get a little bit more in it. That one in the back is a little low, and then we're gonna lower it down and see what happens. Alright, so you got the air pumped up a little bit. Only got 30 pounds in them. That should be fine. Crawl under the motor. And cool thing about this truck, actually, when I put it together with the 350 originally, I decided to come out the cut with a billet T4 turbo, and it was mounted on that side. The exhaust going down there, and it actually goes out to stacks. which in my opinion are the most baddest fucking things on this truck. It's also got some ties to some big rigger shit going on, and it's even got a mud flap thing that goes all the way across the back and the bottom. So it's like a, what is it, a little big trucker's dream. When you can't get a CDL, so you just throw all the shit onto your mini truck. That kind of deal. It's got a lot of other inspirations going on here. You know, it's got quite the terrible wiring in it. Yeah, so it was quite the little unit with the turbo motor, but it lasted about a week. And in fact, like I said, that engine, that 350, was in my Frontier. So I had it quite a while before it let go, a few years. But we're gonna go and lower this down now, I guess. So we have it in, and it's actually pretty good. It's a little tilted up in the front, but you're gonna get that. Hopefully the drive shaft angle will be somewhat normal. If not, I can put a few spacers under that transmission mount, because there's actually some room still in there. It's pretty tight right to there, which the small block was. That's actually just a stock Dirty Dingo S10 engine mount for LS swap. Put the starter, well, the starter was installed when I put the motor in, and it's plenty of clearance for shit. It also is touching the steering, so I suppose there might be a few ways about fixing that, and that would probably be to like somehow lower the steering rack or the bar going across with like a longer tie rod end or something and a spacer maybe. But I'm not going to do anything like that. We did bolt the transmission in. You can see the mount, it has the bolt, so that's exactly where it was. So the drive shaft is going to line up perfectly. The Lamborghini is doing amazing, being the crane truck as usual. This thing is a beast. And like I said, it's going to stay around for a while because it's kind of useful for things like this, because the loader is still down. So, kind of. I mean, it runs, but needs a fuel pump or some shit because it runs out of fuel. And no good on no diesel. Anyway, so we're going to keep plugging away, and hopefully we can get some engine mounts in and get the chain off and let this thing sit down, because there's still a pretty good gap there, and not supposed to have that. It's supposed to be this. The hand. But anyway, we're going to keep going and come back to you in a few moments. Well, I got the engine in, got the plates modified, got to weld them in now. Thing sits pretty good. The truck is actually a little off level, but it's matching, so it'll be fine. Got this side already hacked down, so just got to pull her over to the garage a little bit more and zap her in. If you want to see the clearance in the back of the motor, here it is. It's pretty tight. This side's literally on top of the firewall. It's probably got a credit card fitment. That's all you need though. But everything should fit, and it's pretty flawless. It fit pretty fucking good, to be honest with you. Cross member you got to remove. You're gonna have like a 1/4 inch gap between your steering shaft and the oil pan if you keep the stock truck pan. But as long as you kind of have some intelligence and think it out a little bit, you can make this shit happen without extensive modifications to all this junk underneath here. I'll show you. You see, it's pretty close, but it ain't hitting. You can fit your freaking dick between that thing, so you're good. Beautiful. This truck is so good. Well, Lamborghini coming in clutch.
Use the battery.
Yeah, so I suppose the Lamborghini has earned its keep once again, and it's gonna stay as a square body. So that's the deal. Let's see the levelness of this thing. It's okay. It's gonna be fuel injected, so it doesn't matter. This thing could be fucking tipped over, it'll still run like a fucking bastard. So, anyway, gotta roll it up over there and weld her up. But other than that, it fits pretty good. It is tight, but I think everything else will be fine. Well, we now have some engine mounts, and these welded in. And this thing sitting on its own. So that's pretty good. Actually feels kind of nimble on the nose. But this thing's all aluminum top end and shit, so I'm not surprised. But yep, that's the final fitment. Seems pretty good. Seems straight in there. Here's what we got. It's a little crooked. However, go up to the truck. It seems to sit the same way. I mean, this thing probably isn't perfectly flat. But if you go to this piece here, it's pretty much the same anyway. So the angle of the dangle is still tipped up. Where's the level? There's the level. But it, like I said, it's fuel injected, so none of this shit matters. And yeah, I'm excited because now comes the fun part of actually making it run. But that's probably all for now, at least on the recording part. I want to actually like get shit done without thinking about filming. So unfortunately, this is where we stop for now. But it's in with no modifications to any of the factory chassis components other than pulling that cross member out. That's all you got to do, literally, and just do it right, and it will actually fit with the stock 4-wheel drive full-size truck oil pan. And that thing is pretty gaudy. So now the fun begins. So if you liked the video or what you saw, leave a like, subscribe to see more. This thing will definitely be tearing it up pretty soon because it's not really that hard to hook one of these up now. It's just pretty much wiring and putting my drive shaft back in. Because everything is still in this truck from the 350 with the turbo. So that's the end of that.